Hey, Ian here. Wanted to make a quick video. If your sales team is facing a common issue in the sales arena, call reluctance. Wanted to take a note of kind of what we've done to kind of take away call reluctance a little bit, as in your sales staff not calling all the leads, cherry picking, all this different stuff. And so if they've been doing this for a long time, it's going to be really hard to get them out of the habit of doing it. And that's just human nature. People build habits and everything, but it's pretty common. We work with the company. Clio Legal Trends report, Clio ran a report, entered a bunch of information, contact information into different websites of their clients. I think it was only 1 out of 3 firms or 2 out of 3 firms, I'll double check the stat, that actually called their leads. So that's a lot. I mean, and you got to think, every business needs money, and especially every law firm gets money from other people. So if you're facing the call reluctance issue, for one, you have to give your employees or whoever's calling up, even if it's you, if you're the business owner, you have to give them a simple way to call these people. Because if you're just like emailing them leads and they're getting 150 emails a day, it's just naturally going to get prioritized and it's going to get pushed down. And not everybody opens every email, they get a lot of them. And people that do open every email are a rare exception, or they usually have like an assistant that helps them with it, which means they're a busy business owner, which definitely means they're not going to call everybody. So that's kind of one bit as far as working on that goes. So when it comes to actually getting the staff to overcome that fear of rejection with it, is for one, you got to kind of start removing lead biases. Because there's a good chance they're not calling every lead. They just say, oh yeah, the leads that come from there suck, there's no point in calling them, which is detrimental to the health of your sales organization. Like we have a third-party answering service, and we go in and start calling all those leads with fresh eyes, all the ones that the staff don't necessarily want to call or the boss doesn't want to touch. And a lot of times we get a different attitude. So we go in there, we got a different script, we got a different vibe. So that's it's important to change that up, but don't get jaded and realize that the internet's the internet. Like, you might happen to catch somebody from a Facebook ad, they might then go to Google. So you got to just think about kind of the natural progression of stuff, because there's a good chance your staff aren't calling internet leads. Most people call back the referrals and everything. Sometimes they don't. There's a CPA I was going to hire that actually didn't call me back, which was unfortunate because I was a laydown, it was a referral. And so that's kind of one way to do it. Is for one, like, work on not having lead biases inside your organization. And don't foster them either. Because one quick example, one firm I worked with, they thought all the leads that came in on a Facebook Messenger were horrible. But one day an EB5 lead comes in, and they followed up with it. They did a great job on it and everything. But if that guy didn't call the office and actually be assertive and get in front of the lawyers' faces and actually ask the questions, he might have fallen by the wayside, and that's $30,000 in revenue for that business. So we definitely want to cut out lead biases and everything, but work with your staff on it. And once you get down to it, find out. I think in a previous video I talked about kind of not having judgment when it comes to building this. I mean, if you want to have a growth-minded company, it's important to let your staff know and the people know that they can just ask questions and not be shunned for it, not be treated like they're stupid or anything. And that also involves you also have to pay people enough just to where they can actually feel like they want to do a good job too, or find ways to reward them. Especially if you're working with freelancers and everything, and maybe you're outsourcing more parts of your company, you want to find ways to have them reflect that positivity in your business. One of the last things for cutting out call reluctance is make a clear reward for it, but also like make it simple for them to follow up, like I talked about earlier. But just find a way to force them to go in order. Like what we do in our business to help companies do this is we have an actual call center, like a call team that will do all those calls for them should they decide to pay for it. But pretty much that call team in and of itself, a lot of what that accomplishes is just the fact that they're very process driven, which is the culture of Foster, but that's also how just about any call center team's going to be, is they're just going to call every lead. So what you got to do is create some sort of documented process to qualifying somebody. Like, do you actually have like a qualification flowchart of like the questions to ask, of like if this then that kind of stuff? For example, if you call them up and say, hey, have you ever purchased legal services before in immigration. And they're like, oh no, this is the first time. It's like, okay, well, you're inside the country, so how exactly did you acquire that visa? So, or maybe it's personal injury, it's like, hey, have you ever filed suit against anybody before? Or maybe if it's real estate, like, hey, is this your first time purchasing a house? Because that's going to tell you a lot about how much you're going to have to handhold them. But it also tells you that there's a good chance if it's the first time somebody's purchased something, they've probably had a bad experience with at least one other company, even if they didn't buy from them. So you may have to overcome that a little bit, but that's not to be like jaded or anything, but it's just kind of one thing to understand about, like, you know, when your team is selling people and everything. But overall, those are just quick tips about how to overcome call reluctance. For one, there just needs to be a clear reward. Work on not having lead biases. A lot of the big thing is just having meetings often enough, just to not let your staff go out on tangents or anything. But if you need help with this, plug your questions down in the comments. Really curious how you guys are working with your sales teams and applying information to not even just your law firms, but businesses. No, not everybody on here is a law firm owner. And I'll talk to you later. Thank you.